Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. We have a couple of special guests here today. If you guys don't follow me on Instagram, then this is Miss Josephine Hope.
Josie.
She made her debut 1 week ago today that we're filming this. We had a beautiful home birth, and if you guys saw my video last week, then I guess you would know that she was here already, because I said I wasn't going to share our home birth setup until she was officially here. So all went well according to plan, better than planned, I would say.
Yeah.
And so John and I just wanted to share our little positive home birth story. I feel like the more positive home birth stories that there are out there, the better. I know that like when I'm pregnant, I'm always looking for home birth stories that encourage me and inspire me. So we thought we would share our home birth story with Miss Josephine today. And just kind of catch you up to speed on how the first week postpartum has been and how the family is adjusting and kind of what's going on with my channel from here on out. So if you guys are interested, then stay tuned. Okay, so I will start the story out and then you can take over at like actual labor, because this labor, I would say, was longer than all of my other labors, but it was my favorite. It was like, it's weird. It was longer, but it was more peaceful.
Right. If
I have a preference, it would be to have a little bit of a longer labor than a precipitous labor, which is what I had with my other kids, which is just great in the sense that it's really fast, but it also is like very intense very quickly. And so this time, I had some time to know that like it was building up and that we were like maybe approaching labor any day now. And then my actual labor was a little lengthier. What would you say, 7 or 8 hours?
Yeah.
Once I was in active labor.
Yeah, close to
than normal. So starting with, hold on 1 second, let me adjust her here. Starting with, so she was born on a Tuesday morning. So starting the Friday before, John came home from work and we were watching a movie in bed, and I was just like, I just feel weird. Like, I don't even know, did I tell you that?
You've been saying it for a couple days, really, that you were feeling weird.
By Friday I did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thursday, Friday, you had been saying that you were feeling weird.
Yeah, like I felt like, I didn't think labor was like imminent, but I also felt like we were approaching an any day now type of scenario.
Right.
Because I lost my appetite completely. Everything made me nauseous. Like my body just felt weird. Like, I don't know, everything just felt a little different. I felt much more tired. I just didn't feel like I had ownership of my body in a sense. Like it just felt like I don't know, it just felt like very foreign to me, a very foreign feeling. And so Friday night, while we were watching the movie, I like grabbed my phone and kind of started timing a couple contractions here and there to see if they were consistent at all, but they weren't painful. It was just like tightening. I thought maybe it's Braxton Hicks. And after I timed like 4 or 5 of them, they were like 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 11 minutes, 7 minutes, 11 minutes. I was like, yeah, these aren't falling into any kind of pattern. So
yeah, we thought maybe it was dehydration or
something like that.
Overdoing
the kids had also had, that was the week that I had been teasing online. I was trying to get through that week. Like the kids, all 4 of my kids, for some reason in my 37th week of pregnancy, when I signed them up in like March. I don't know why I didn't think, oh, you'll be full term that week, but I signed both of my girls up for their dance intensive for their dance companies, and then I signed Eli up for golf camp, and then my brother came into town for a sports camp that his kids love and asked if Jessie wanted to join them, so I was like, sure, sign him up. So all 4 of our kids that week had to be at a different place at a different time every day that week.
Yeah.
And I turned 37 weeks in the middle of that week on a Wednesday. And I was just thinking, wow, like I really hope she holds on, because typically 3 of our 4 have come at 37 weeks.
Right.
And Josephine herself came at 37.6.
Right.
So technically 4 of our 5 kids have come in the 37th week now. But so by the time we got to Friday and I was exhausted and nauseous, I was like, it's either that like something's happening or I crossed the finish line and my body's like done, because you made it through the whole week. So
well, we've talked about that before too. It seems like every time she's gone into labor, it's after we know everything we needed to get done is done.
We're good now.
And the dust is settled, and now we're ready for the baby.
Yeah, so it's
which is kind of what that week was.
For sure.
So.
Yeah. So nothing really happened Friday. Saturday, I feel like I felt fine Saturday. We had like a pool day as a family.
Yeah.
We had been invited to a barbecue out at our friend's lake, and we were just like, we're gonna lay low. We actually took the kids out to dinner Saturday night, now that I think about it, because
where did we go?
We went to that new Asian restaurant.
Oh yeah.
Because I thought it might be the last time we'd take the kids out, you know.
Right.
So we went to a new restaurant. It was fun.
Yeah.
Great time. Same thing Saturday night. Few contractions. Like, do I time them? Do I not? No consistent pattern. So, like, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Sunday morning was the first day that in this pregnancy that I had contractions during the daytime. And I woke up, actually I think as I woke up Saturday night overnight, I was having contractions, or I was waking up, the whole end of my pregnancy, I was waking up with contractions a lot. I was waking up to go to the bathroom a lot, but I had never had contractions overnight. And so overnight, Saturday night, I don't even know if I told you this, when I'd wake up to go to the bathroom, I happened to feel that I was having contractions at the time, but I didn't think much of it because I thought, you know, again, it's not painful. I don't feel anything different. So went back to sleep. So Sunday morning, woke up, got the kids ready for church, and I was like, I'm having daytime contractions. That's not normal.
Yeah.
Still weren't like a super big pattern, but I was like, I don't really want to be at church if like my water breaks or something. So John took the kids to church, and I stayed home and saw if I laid low without kids in the house, like, would this subside? And I think you had told our friends when you got to church that you weren't super...
I told them that it was the first day really that it had been daytime and she was having contractions.
Yeah.
Whether or not they were inconsistent, she was still having contractions consistently. So, yeah, I kind of had a feeling on Saturday evening that things might be ramping up, and then Sunday morning kind of confirmed that for me because they hadn't really let up.
Yeah.
Not consistent timing, but she was still having them.
Yeah,
So.
and they had never happened during the day. And another weird thing that happened was I had like major swelling in my feet for the last few weeks.
Yeah.
And Sunday morning when I woke up, there was just no swelling.
It was gone.
I was like, I texted my midwife and I was like, why would this happen?
Right.
Like, I didn't change anything. You know, it was very strange, and the only thing I can chalk that up to now is maybe like a hormonal shift, like I was really gearing up or something, but that's never happened to me before. So yeah, so just days of like prodromal labor, but nothing really was progressing, nothing felt consistent. I just had contractions off and on all day. Sunday, still chalked it up to just being 37 and a half weeks pregnant, being on my feet, having 4 kids. And then I thought with Annabeth, I had gone into labor, progressed, had my midwives here, and it stalled out because she wasn't in the right position. And I tend to have babies who are all over 8 pounds around 37 weeks. And so I had to go to the chiropractor a few days later, and my chiropractor adjusted me, and that's the night that I had Annie, and they said, you know, she just wasn't in an ideal position. So with Josie that night, Sunday evening, John had the kids in the pool, and I did that miles circuit. So there's this thing online called the miles circuit, which is like it's basically like engaging baby if you're already like ready for labor. And I thought maybe these contractions are like not progressing because maybe she's not exactly in the right position. I kind of had like a little intuition, like the way that she had been moving the whole time didn't feel like the way she was moving the last few days. So I did the miles circuit to see if I could get her to like re-engage or something. Yeah. And that is when everything. Was that what did it?
She's smiling.
She's like doing her little sleepy giggle. And that is when like things started picking up, and I was like, if I go to bed, and they level out, then it means it's nothing. And I think from last time where I slept through my whole labor with Annie, John was like, that's not a great idea. So we watched Kitchen Nightmares.
Yeah.
An episode of Kitchen Nightmares, and like halfway through that episode, I was like,
it's game time.
Maybe if we turn the tub on and I just lay in the tub. Yeah, I'm such a skeptic when it comes to saying I'm in labor. So
well, she's always afraid she's gonna call it too early.
Yeah, I'm either like, my history is I'm either days too early with going to the hospital or calling my midwife, or I'm like 20 minutes too late and the baby's already here by the time we get to the hospital or call the midwife. So yeah, so I was like, okay, well, I'm sitting down, it's not changing, but maybe if I get in a warm tub, then it'll change. And I think at that point, John started secretly texting our midwife just to say like, don't tell Abby I'm texting you, but I think it's game time.
Well, I had been texting her Sunday morning.
Okay.
So this is Monday evening.
She likes the heads up. She just likes the heads up so you can get a babysitter.
Well, Sunday morning I gave her a heads up and had told her that it had been consistent. By this time, what you're talking about, she had already been at 7 to 8 minutes consistently with contractions. The timing was more consistent and it was getting shorter. Do you want me to pick it up from here, or do you want to keep going?
Yeah, I think that's like basically, yeah, so I was like, if I lay in the tub and they go away.
And they were about 7
then
minutes
it's
at
not
that point.
real.
Right.
Yeah.
So then I
midnight, right? About midnight?
Yeah, about midnight, maybe a little before. But then I went into action and started, I had a whole notes section in my phone of certain oils that she wanted to diffuse and things I had to do to get the bed ready, and just a little list to kind of help my mind get ready and prepare for birth.
Homebirth dads have a lot to do.
Right.
So.
And I'm all about being prepared ahead of time for things. And so I went into the zone. When I knew it was somewhat getting close, I went into the zone. I texted Haley again and told her. I just said the midwife's name, it's not a big deal.
It's fine.
Okay, so
I would recommend, if anybody happens to live in Central Florida and there's a midwife near you named Haley. User.
So I texted her, started to get her kind of prepared. I hadn't texted her yet, actually. I got the plastic on the bed. I got the tub blown up. I had the oils getting ready to get going. I opened the box to get the vinyl cover for the tub. I had everything going. And Abby came in from the bathtub and she kept alternating between sitting down and standing up. And she got out her what's the app that you use?
The hypnobirthing app?
Hypnobirthing app where you can time your contractions.
Oh, just a contraction timer.
So it was a contraction timer.
Just a random one. And
they had gone from 7 minutes down to 5 minutes. And
so let me just say, that is when you're supposed to call the midwife, and that's when they want to come over. And our midwife is a good 30 minutes away. Plus, there's this thing being built in Florida called the Brightline Railroad, which is a major, everyone's, mad about it. And this particular day, they happened to have the only entrance to our neighborhood closed off for construction for this railroad.
Yeah.
So where she was gonna have to drive was gonna add like 15 minutes to her getting here. So John was like, 5 minutes, let's call her. But I have to say, just to like vouch for myself here, they were not painful at all.
And she was not in pain.
I was like, I know it's a contraction because my hand's there and I'm feeling it getting tighter, but I don't know, does this feel like a contraction to you? And so that was a tough call.
Sure.
So I was saying like, please don't call her, please don't call her. I was like stealing his phone, like, did you text her? Did you call her?
Well, by the time Abby had said, okay, if I have 4 more like this, which by the way, that app on her phone was telling her, you need to go to the hospital now.
Like, please go.
But please so Abby was like, if I have 4 more, then we'll contact her. It had already been 20 minutes and I already told Haley. So she was already on her way. So I had texted Haley at that point and said, hey, she's had, this many, and now she's at kind of like 4 to 5 minutes apart. So then she had already been en route, and she gave me a heads up when she was about a minute away.
Then I started walking.
Yep, you left the room.
Sometime in this time, I felt your tension of like, it's 5 minutes, I know you're gonna call her. I'm like, well, maybe the bathtub didn't work and sitting down didn't work, but maybe if I walk and they change, then I'm in labor.
Right.
When I started walking, they were 3 minutes apart, and I was hiding. I don't know why I do this. I don't know why. I just want to be so sure. So I was like hiding my app from John, and every time I'd set my phone down and he'd walk in the room, I'd like grab my phone. I don't know why.
Well, it's kind of funny you say that, because I didn't have to see the app to know.
You knew. I was
like,
just trying to play it cool. Like we're 3 minutes
I'm not
apart.
even looking at the app. But, so yeah, so then now that we were talking about it out loud, you did go from 7 minutes to 5 minutes to 3 minutes within a very short amount of time. So her body was ready.
Okay, let's do it.
And so when Haley got here, Abby's pacing around the house, and Abby, I had said, Haley, hey,
and this
Haley.
is like 3.
No, it was like, you're right. It was between 2:30 and 3 o'clock. Contacted Haley around 2 o'clock, 2:15. So it was close to 3 o'clock.
Okay.
But so I said, hey, Haley, I said, yeah, I think we're here. And the first words out of Abby's mouth was, I think we are having a difference of opinion and what's going on.
So I think we're in disagreement
Yeah.
about whether you should be here right now or not.
So, and then.
Yeah, so she was like, okay, why?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, she said, why do you feel that way? Because she was like, she immediately brought out the heart rate, the Doppler, and like, stuck it on me to see. And she was like, oh, you're having a big surge right now, aren't you? And I was like, I think so. And then she was like, okay, well, baby girl, it's not bothering her at all.
Right.
And I was thinking, of course not, because I'm not in labor. Why would it be bothering her?
And Abby was so like cool and calm, because again, these contractions weren't really painful to her.
Yeah, they weren't.
That it did seem like it to Haley, because Haley even said like, okay, well, we'll check you out, and if you're not progressed, then we'll just chop this up as you're not ready, and I'll come back. But Abby was like, see, I knew, I was like, dude, Abby doesn't even realize what's going on. Like, she is far along, and sure enough.
Yeah, so she asked me permission to be checked, and that's one of the things I really love about midwifery is everything is done with like total consent. So she said, do you want me to check you? And I was like, sure, may as well. So she checked me and she was like, well, you're more than halfway there. Yeah. And I was like, what? Like, really? And so then I was like, she's lying to me. I don't know why that was like my next thought. I wasn't making any sense. At this point, I also hadn't slept for days, I would say.
Yeah, probably a day and a half solid, 2 days. Yeah, no, Abby was convinced now at this point. Haley's getting her stuff out. Haley's like, all right, John, put the adapter on the shower and start filling the tub with water. And so Haley's having us get ready for this. And Abby is like, literally, Abby says to me in the other room when Haley's away, she's like, do you think she's lying to me? Like, why is she? And I'm like, oh my gosh, like she's not lying. Like, it's time to go.
Well, eventually Haley said, why do you feel like you're not in labor? Because she could tell that I was like, like reading into it. Because I said like how many centimeters, and she said something like, you're gonna math it. I don't want to tell you because you're gonna math it. Like she knew that I would try to like get in my head about it. And so she said, why do you feel like it's not labor? And I said, it's just not hurting. And she was like, do you feel like labor is supposed to hurt? And at this point I had done all the, all the different Happy Homebirth Academy and been listening to everything, and it's all about like pain-free home birth. And I was like, but when she asked me, do you feel like it's supposed to hurt? I was like, yeah, Haley, it's supposed to hurt. Like come on, let's be real. It's supposed to hurt. So I don't know. It was just like something psychologically I couldn't get past that it wasn't hurting. And so I was like not clicking in at all. Right.
And so, where do we go from there?
Yeah, so Haley's setting up.
Yeah. Oh, so Abby started accepting the fact that it was labor. And so we had, sort of an idea of where Abby wanted, I'll talk about where you wanted me in regards to labor. and my support and the way that I supported you. And we've had to figure it out with each birth. And a lot of it's because, you know, this is only our second home birth. The other ones were in a hospital, so my support looked differently then. But this labor was so weird and different.
It was.
And compared to all the rest of them, mostly because it was so smooth and Abby was so checked in mentally.
It was checked in.
She was in
so
yeah,
weird. I'm usually gone.
Yeah,
like,
she's usually lost in
labor land.
And and so this one, she was in the zone and coherent.
Yeah.
And so she kept wanting space, and she didn't really want me, you know, rubbing on her back or talking her through it. She was laboring on her own. And so what I did is Abby would pace in our bedroom.
It's one of my favorite memories.
She'd go pace out into the living room, and I would give her a little bit of a distance, but I would follow her the whole time.
I could hear him.
And
I could like hear his footsteps.
And so I just decided that I was going to pray over her the whole time. And so since we were in the living room and she starts cracking up because she sees me, she stood up, I stood up, she leaned against the wall, I sat down on the couch next to her, and she starts cracking up. And I'm like, if you're not gonna let me touch you or talk to you, you're gonna be in my prayer bubble. So everywhere you go, there's gonna be a 6 foot.
He was like right there.
Bubble where we're gonna be praying. So yeah, that went on until about. Which, by the way, let me just say real quick. I know this is getting exhaustive, my story, but
no, I love details.
I went when Abby was checked. Haley didn't communicate to Abby how far along she was, and neither did she communicate to me. And I was curious because I was like, I also want to know like where we're at right now. So when Abby was laboring a little bit here in the bedroom, I went out to the table to talk, dining room table to talk to Haley, and I said, hey, like really discreetly, I was like, hey, you know, like when you said she was more than halfway there, which at this point it had been another like 45 minutes to an hour. I said, where was she at? And she's like, she was about 7. And I was like, holy cow. Like, are you kidding me?
So crazy.
Like, no pain at all. Just the progressive contractions, and she's at 7.
Yeah.
So at that point I was like, all right, yeah, this is really happening. So it went on until about 4 o'clock in the morning.
I think it was 5 because I asked you to just lay down and get some rest.
Yeah.
I wanted to just like be alone for a little bit. I was smelling clary sage, trying to like walk around, trying to get things to move. And usually I know when we hit transition because I usually throw up during transition. Like I get really nauseous or sick or like in my head, and so I was like thinking I'm not even near that yet because I'm feeling fine. I didn't know that I was at 7 already, so I'm like, why don't you just lay down? My midwife and her assistant at that point got here, and they were just kind of like sitting or laying on the couch, and I talked to her and I said, I just want to walk around. She's like, do you want to walk outside? I was like, no, I think I'll just stay in the house. So I was like wanting to walk around, but I wanted to be alone. Our master bathroom has like decent square footage, so I just actually went in the bathroom and just paced a little bit because I really wanted to be alone. And they totally respected my space. I wanted John to get some rest in case. I could tell at that point, like, this is panning out to be a longer labor than we're used to. The sun will be up in a couple of hours. The kids will be up. Like, it would do me some good if you just rested. And so John actually laid down and just like zonked. Like, which I was like really happy that he did that because I just needed, like, as a mom, you just need to know that everything's okay. So I just knew like he's zonked out. Now I can do what I need to do. So, so she told me that was 5 o'clock. She was going to check me in another hour. So then she came in at 6 o'clock and she's like, are you ready to be checked?
It was the same laboring too. Not a lot of pain.
No pain.
Just consistent
and at that
contractions.
point, it felt like just one contraction, never-ending contraction. So I couldn't even time it anymore.
And she checked you.
She checked me, and she was
go.
like, "You're complete." And I was like,
"There's no way.
There's no way." I'm like, I can't even push. There's no way. Like there. And she said, like, we'll wait for you to be ready to push. And then she said she offered me the option of her breaking my water, which, you know, typically there's not a lot of intervention, especially unnecessary intervention in home birth.
Yeah.
But she knew that I was waiting for that pain cue. And she said, if you feel like you need a pain cue, then we can get some of this like water out. You're going to feel all the surges. You're going to feel the urge to push. Or you can wait it out and just see. And I was like, do you think it'll stop if we don't break my water? And she was like, I mean, never say never, but I would be shocked because I was like really fully dilated. And so I couldn't, I was having a really hard time making the decision. I started seeing the sun come up and I was like, you know what?
Right.
Yeah, let's just break my water.
Well, looking back, it was wisdom. She used a lot of wisdom, the midwife. It threw me off when she asked that question. It actually kind of, I took it the wrong way. And mostly because all the intervention that we had in the hospital births, like the doctors choosing to break her water.
I mean, at the hospital, like you get there and you're 3 centimeters and they're like, all right, breaking your water.
Yeah, to progress, labor so that it happens quicker. So when she suggested that, I was a little bit like, why would she suggest that? Is she tired of being here? Whatever, but. Which
is not logical, but in the moment.
Yeah, because this is a short labor probably compared to what the majority of what she's used to. But looking back, it was really wise of her to suggest that because Abby had started to get in her head.
Yeah, I was super in my head.
She wasn't going to be able, she was afraid that it wasn't going to progress on its own. And, her water being broken helped Abby continue in the same kind of determined mindset that she had going.
Yeah.
And if she would have labored and waited till the water broke, by that point, 4 or 5 hours later, she would have been exhausted.
Well, she did tell us after. So after Josie was born, and I asked her, like, if you hadn't have broken my water, like, what do you think? She said, I think it would have still been about another 3 or 4 hours that you would have been waiting for your water to break. And I will tell you that I would have been really discouraged at that point.
Right.
Just because I felt so confused. It wasn't even like it was hard labor and I was so discouraged and tired. It was just like, it was so different for me. And I just was so in my head. And it was just, I don't know, it was very strange. Any preparation that I had done, anything that I had done to like mentally get in the zone for labor, I wasn't expecting this labor. I was expecting really painful. What if it's really painful? Or what if it's painful for a long time? But no pain. Like, it's just a strange thing to prepare yourself for no pain.
Right.
Because then it's like, how do I convince myself this is labor if I'm not feeling it? So she broke my water, or John went to get Bella. Bella wanted to be in the room.
Right before she broke your water, I got Bella.
So then he got Bella.
Bella was to take pictures.
She wanted
And I pre-warned her. I said, hey, right now mommy's she's at, sort of peaceful and laboring. I said, but they're getting ready to break her water. So it will get a little more intense.
Yeah.
And then Bella was super excited, like giddy excited.
Yeah.
Like
so you brought Bella in the room at like 6:45-ish.
6:45-ish.
Okay, sorry about that. It's been a couple hours, but we just had a chance to sit down and get started on the story again. We had to get our girls to dance. So we left off with Bella was getting in the room. Yes. Okay.
And so everything was ready to go.
Haley, she was really excited.
Yeah, she was super giddy and excited, and it was time to break your water.
Yeah.
And so we decided together, and Haley broke your water. And then it had been about maybe a half hour, right? 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and then you felt that first huge contraction.
Oh no, I felt it like I think I was trying to like keep a game face, but like after she broke my water, it was like that first surge. I was like, oh, I know that feeling. And so then I was like, I'm just gonna go to the bathroom and get cleaned up. So I went to the bathroom. And I had another one in the bathroom. And I remember standing like, I was like holding on to the toilet, and I was like, I need your pressure. Because John's really good at like the counter pressure.
Right.
And I was like, I need you. And so he came in and did that. And then like I walked out to the bed. And it had only been like another couple minutes. And I like leaned over the bed and I was like, I need you. And it was just getting like
Yeah.
Okay. And then I was
You only had about 4 or 5 of those.
Yep, that was exactly right. Just about 4 or 5.
Till it hit.
Yeah, I was like leaning over the bed at one point, like my elbows on the bed. And you were doing counter pressure, and then like something shifted. And I was just like, as you're doing that pressure, it was just you and I in the room. Our midwife was out in the other room. And I was like, I think our midwife had said, okay, you can get in the tub whenever you're ready, whenever you want that relief. And I was like, okay, I'll get in soon, because I never want to get in like too soon. And John's like doing the pressure, and I was like, I was like starting to like really moan through the contractions, yeah. And I was like, at the end of that one contraction, I was like, okay, I'll get in the tub, but I really need to go to the bathroom. I was like, oh no, I really need to go to the bathroom. And next thing you know, my midwife is like, had gotten like in my face. I don't know how she got in the room so fast, but John's pushing on my back, and she grabbed my hands from the front of me, and I like had my head down, but her head was like right here, and she was just saying like
speaking affirmations.
Yeah, she was speaking affirmations. And then
it was like divine timing.
Yeah, she like just
she knew. I knew too. When she said she had to use the bathroom, I knew it was go time.
And it's like, I know that's the pushy feeling. But it's like the weirdest thing when you're feeling that feeling. You're like, no, this is definitely that I need to go to the bathroom. You know, it's just so hard. Like I could have 22 babies, and I feel like I'll still be like, oh, I think I need to go to the bathroom every time. Anyway, so then
you got in the
tub. I think I kind of panicked because I didn't think, even though I knew I was complete, I didn't think I was going to actually have to push that quickly.
Yeah.
So I got in the tub, and I think that's when our midwife said, the only thing in this woman is a baby.
Because the only thing coming out that needs to come out of this woman is a baby.
Yeah, she was like, she does not need to go to the bathroom. Because I was still being like, I really think I need to go to the bathroom. She's like, the only thing in this woman is a baby. And then, so we're in the tub, and that very first surge in the tub, it was like full blown, that whole contraction. I was like, I need to bear down and push. And so I started to, and I actually stopped myself. This is the weird thing about being fully present. I've never been that aware in that moment of pushing. I've always just like gone with my body, gone with my instinct. But because I was just so aware, I don't know, just this labor was just so different. I started to push and go with it. And then like probably right at the peak of the contraction, where it would have been like one that really worked for me, I stopped, and I was like, and this is where like having hospital births in the past has kind of thrown me off. I stopped, and I was like, is it okay that I push? Like, do you need, like, I was just thinking like, do you need to check me again? Like, you know, is everything good? And she was like, yeah, you know, or what did she say? She was just like, yeah, do what you need to do, or something like that.
Your body knows what it's doing.
Yeah. And so I stopped, and I kind of like lost that contraction in a sense. And then also had like a moment of mental panic of like, oh man, like there's only one way out of this, and they're about to do it. And then so I just like hung over the and I think I'll throw some pictures in. I hung over the tub, and the next one came, and I just like, you know, she just literally came out in that one contraction. Like,
I was out front. I was out front holding her hand and talking her through it, and Haley was on the side. And on that second push, when Josie came out, it was so crazy. So Abby's leg, her knees are resting on the bottom of the tub. So when Josie came out, she came out behind Abby.
Yeah.
And if she would have gone around the side to the front of Abby, her cord would have been wrapped around Abby's leg. So our midwife literally, when Josie came out behind Abby, quickly kind of pushed Josie back through Abby's legs.
Josie is her nickname, by the way.
So that Abby could grab Josie and pull her up.
Yeah.
And it was incredible. It was
I obviously didn't see any of that happening. I just remember pushing and then like grabbing the baby and pulling her right up, and oh my goodness.
She was so sweet.
She was so sweet. And
she's covered in vernix.
Yeah, she was like, she was definitely covered. We somehow got it on our wall.
It's still on our wall.
It's on our wall. I don't know how.
I'm gonna seal it. with some clear sealer as a memory.
Anyway, so we sat there for a good while. It was the longest time it took, I think, for my placenta. It felt like it was like 20 minutes, maybe 20, 25 minutes. It might have been shorter, I don't know. But I was just sitting there holding her, and first of all, I will say, Bella is 13, and it was just so precious to have Bella in the room this time. I thought, I will say, as like a mom, Bella wanted to be a part of it, and I remember thinking like, okay, yeah, she won't be like disruptive of my birth space, like I'll let her be in the room, like thinking I was doing her a favor kind of for her to be in the room, but like knowing it wouldn't throw me off. But what it was really just this sweet little like womanly bond in the room. Like I actually really enjoyed having her in the room. I wasn't just like entertaining having her in the room when she was there. It felt very connected, and she was so sweet. She was just so sweet. She was right there the whole time. I mean, she was there like right at the tub, right next to John. I mean, she's all the angles of our pictures are her, so she was right there.
The moment she was born, it was a sob fest. So like, Abby was crying, I was crying, and then the midwife was crying. And I guess she had said that.
Yeah, she doesn't
always cry, but when you look back on the journey that we've had with the baby, especially with Josie being our rainbow baby, and the beginning of, have you told your viewers?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so with her progesterone levels being so low.
There were a few hiccups. There was like progesterone levels, and there were HCG levels.
Yeah.
And just a lot of things that like made us not super connected to the pregnancy.
Yeah, so it was kind of a moment of like thinking back on how at one point Josie was almost didn't
we
exist
just weren't sure
fully.
If she would be here.
Yeah, we weren't sure if she would be here. So it was pretty emotional, but it was beautiful.
And we kind of said something in that moment.
You had mentioned that. It's crazy to look at the journey.
Yeah, like we finally have her in our arms or something like that. And then
so then we heard I was leaning over Abby right near our doorway, and I heard a bedroom door shut on the other side of the house. And I looked around the corner, and Josephine had just cried for the first time. And when I looked around the corner as Josie was crying, I saw Annabeth standing there with a huge smile on her face. And so I said, Annie, you know what that is? It was perfect timing. And Annie was like super excited, and she came running into our room. And this is kind of funny.
Yeah, she like stood right by John, and she kind of like looked at the baby from around the corner, and then she left, and I was like, oh, okay, maybe that was, it just wasn't the reaction I was expecting from Annie, because she had been obsessing over Josephine being born for like weeks. And then I just, you know, like when you're in labor or postpartum, you're having like sensory overload, so you remember smells and sounds. And next thing I remember just smelling popcorn. So like one of like my strongest memories from this birth is just the smell of popcorn. Annie had run out of the room, gone to our front closet and gotten a bag of popcorn, and then ran back in, sat right here on the bed, eating the popcorn, just watching Josie from the bed. She was just all smiles. Then she finished her popcorn, left the room again, and then you just hear, boys, wake up, Josephine's here for real life. And she told one of them to get dressed.
Yeah, Eli.
Yeah, Eli, get dressed.
Yeah.
The midwife's here, something like that. And then she very proudly paraded the boys back in the room.
She did too. They came right behind her halfway.
They came right behind her. So I was just in the tub, and then all the kids are right here and so excited. And Bella was just so sweet. All the pictures that Bella took, whenever there's a mirror angle, she's like in the background taking the picture, like she's just so excited. So then our midwife and her assistant told the boys, this was when my placenta was about to be born. She told the boys, like, there will be blood, so if you're not comfortable with that, and they were like, bloop, like they were just out of here. I think Bella,
she was okay with that. Yeah,
Bella was okay with it. Annie left with the boys. Yeah. And then, So then, yeah, I delivered my placenta. I did end up having like a pretty significantly sized clot.
Oh yeah.
At that point, the midwife told Bella to go make me some tea just to like get her out of the room, because we were gonna have to do a little bit of like, kind of like not like it was like emergent or anything, but it might have startled Bella at that point. She was having to make sure that she could get all the clots out, and
they were pretty good sized clots.
They were,
for sure.
I definitely, according to her, I lost the max amount of blood she was comfortable with me losing. I did end up having Pitocin. She gave me a shot of or 2 doses, I don't remember, of Pitocin, which, you know, you go over that in all your birth plan. If you're comfortable with that, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You can choose, like, if my midwife assesses me and wants it, or you can just choose, yes, I want it. I can't remember what I chose, but I hemorrhaged after having Bella. And so I am just more comfortable having Pitocin after a birth, just because of that experience. And, so I'm glad to receive that, because the midwife leaves after a couple of hours, and then it just makes me feel more comfortable. John, they were like, John, take your shirt off, take the baby.
We had some skin to skin.
They had some skin to skin, because there is like the whole first hour is just so sacred after a baby's born, and the midwives don't poke or prod or weigh or touch or anything.
That's what's so special about a home birth, is literally from when Josie was born and Abby put her on her chest in the tub, we all sat there for like an hour before we moved. And it was so crazy, because I even when the hospital births, like, I was up close and personal, but this home birth, I was able, when the cord was still attached to Josie and placenta, I was able to feel the cord, and you could feel the pulsating from her heartbeat.
Did you not do that the last home birth?
I may have, but I didn't remember it.
It was more of a blur, because like, there was no midwife here yet.
Right. So yeah, it's just it just feels so natural.
Yeah,
and
it is so precious and sacred.
Yeah.
It is like a sacred hour. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then typically they start tending to me at that point and hand the baby to Dad. And because of the blood loss, they kind of both tended to me, the midwife and the assistant, right away. So typically it's like you know, get in bed and have a snack, and then they'll check. But this was more of like, okay, get in bed, don't move. All hands on deck kind of a thing. And then usually you do, before the midwife leaves, they kind of help you take a shower and everything, but they were like, we just really want you sitting down for the next 24 hours. So, I mean, and she got my bleeding to a point she was very comfortable with it before she left, and I was very comfortable with it before she left, but she just didn't want any unnecessary, like, standing. And so she has a pretty strong 7-day rule of staying in bed or on the couch, but she said no couch for the first 24 hours, bed only. So they dealt with that, you know, checked to see if I needed stitches or anything, didn't need any of that. One of the things that I didn't want to forget when I was getting out of the tub, it's like the funny things that catch your eye, like the smell of the popcorn is one thing. The night before I had Josephine, I had painted the girls' nails, and I let Annie paint my toes. And as I'm stepping out of the tub, you kind of like focus on something when something's a little scary or, you know, whatever. I'm getting out of the tub and they're like assessing my bleeding, and I looked down and I hadn't seen how Annie painted my toes the night before. She painted basically from my knuckle of my toe down to the toenail of every single toe. And so I just remember like getting out of the tub, and of all the chaos going on, that's what I felt like I needed to explain to my midwife, was like, oh, I'm sorry about my toes. I let Annie paint them last night. Like a weird, just such a weird hyper focus on like, disregard my toenails right now, which like nobody cared, but
nobody cared.
That's what I saw in the moment. And then, yeah, so just a couple cool things that happened. The kids were really, really hopeful that she would be born on the strawberry moon, and she was.
Yeah, look what she's wearing.
She's wearing her little strawberry blanket.
Which we got for her before she was born.
Well before. And then Jesse totally called the birth date and the time. A couple of days before, he was like, I think it'd be really cool if she was born on the 14th at 7 a.m. because that'd be like 3/7.
We've been talking a lot about the importance of numbers in Scripture.
Yeah, like numerology in Scripture.
And we literally were just talking about that verse in Matthew.
The
chapter
14
6,
generations, 14 generations, yeah.
The 14 generations to the seed of Christ. And then I've been doing a study in Revelations where it's talking about numbers 7, 14, 12, and
Jesse was super into numbers, so he was like, it'd be so cool if she was born on the 14th at 7 a.m.
Yeah.
And then she was, and he didn't realize it until the next day, like, Jesse, you were right, you called her.
It's crazy, right?
So that was sweet for them too. And of course now Jesse, being a 10-year-old boy, is like, what does that mean? What does that mean about her?
Yeah. It's prophetic.
Yeah. So yeah, we've had that's the whole labor and delivery story of Miss Josephine Hope. Her name is very special to us. The story of Joseph, for many reasons, is very special to John and I in Scripture. And I can probably do an entire video on that. It has a lot to do with like my testimony of being adopted, and you know, John's been learning a lot of really cool things about Joseph's story, and so we named her Josephine because of that. And then my sister's name is Hope, and so she's Miss Josephine Hope, especially, you know, related back to the reason that the name Joseph is so important to me. And it just ties in with having my sister right by my side my whole life. So we wanted to honor her in that way and give her my sister's middle name. Yeah. And I did intend to talk postpartum, but I think this video is probably an hour long now, so I think I'll just do
another video.
A postpartum check-in maybe in a couple of weeks when I'm more than just 1 week postpartum anyway.
Let's do it.
But I am feeling good. She's nursing well.
Yeah.
Everything's been very sweet at our house. If there was ever any concern about Annie's adjustment period, that's been blown out of the water because she just loves her sister, could care less about mine and John's attention. She just wants the baby. So
she is changing her poop diapers
she's
like
so
it's
cute.
Nothing.
She like wants to.
I mean, like excitedly, and then on the way to the trash can, she's like, "Ooh!"
She'll go butterscotch popcorn.
Oh man.
So funny.
So everything is good. It's well.
Everything's been very
sweet. Thank you guys for your prayers and
your
sweet messages, and our family really appreciates it.
Yeah, lots of sweet and kind loving on our family online in the last week.
And I'm really liking being home with my family. You guys comment and let us know if you want us to start a full-time YouTube
oh my
career
gosh,
together.
John's like, maybe we could just do this full-time and then I have to go back. Anyway, all right, well, that's it. That's her little story, and we will see you soon. I'll definitely have a video next week, but this is my only video this week, so. All right, guys.
All right. Bye.
Bye.